In this last video, we're going to take a look at inserting a table from an Excel file, and then we're going to also insert a graphic in a slide from a clipping of a window on our desktop. And there's one more file you're going to need from Canvas. Make sure you go and download the mortgage calculator. And inserting a table or data from Excel, it's a hit or miss in PowerPoint, and there's some things to consider. As you can see, I have a Lab4 folder that I created on the desktop to save the files, and within it I have the mortgage calculator spreadsheet. There's two ways to get a table in PowerPoint from Excel. One is by copying and pasting information in the Excel table and then into your PowerPoint. Again, first method is opening the Excel spreadsheet and then copying and pasting the cells into PowerPoint. The second method is actually embedding the Excel spreadsheet within PowerPoint. The benefit is that that will forever link your PowerPoint presentation to the spreadsheet. So if you change your spreadsheet, if you change data in the spreadsheet and save it, the next time you open the PowerPoint presentation, it will have the most updated data in the table in PowerPoint. The only problem is that if you have to keep those two files in the same folder, if you ever move one or the other outside the folder, it will break the link, and then the tables will not be up to date and the files can't talk to each other. This works well in Microsoft and Microsoft technologies. If you're going to do this type of thing, embedding a spreadsheet or data, I would recommend that you do it in Office 365 because your files are in the cloud and you don't have to worry about keeping them linked on your personal computer. So let's take a look first at copying and pasting from Excel. I'm going to open the mortgage calculator file, and so I need to resize it, and I'm only going to copy part of it. So what I want to do is actually just copy these cells right here. They kind of give us an example of a simple calculation. And so what I'm going to do is select copy and then go to PowerPoint, and then on the Home tab I have options. I simply want to paste. And now what it does is it applies the theme to the table. How about we undo and I go back, and I want to do that again because really what I want to do is get all of this. And so now I'll select copy and then go ahead and then paste it in PowerPoint. So it applies the formatting, but it pastes it like a table. So I resize it, and you can see right off the bat that it's pasting it in there like a table, if you will, because if I go to layout, we can see we have the table tools here, right? It's not pasting Excel. It's pasting it like a table and the information there. And now, since this is from an automated spreadsheet, I may not want this particular column, right? So I can delete this particular row and it's gone. I want to use this as an example in my presentation. So I can go to design and I can actually change it a little bit. I can make this thing a heading row, right? And it formats it that way and dresses it up a little bit. I can change the table styles. So maybe I want to use something like this, or maybe, you know, with we don't have the option for alternating bands, but with this gray background or this color, it kind of lays everything out for us. You really have to take a look at what it's doing in terms of the text. So it's merged some cells, it's taken from Excel. And so, we can do things like maybe increase the font size. So if I click in this first cell and shift click, I can select all of those cells and I can change the font size, make it a little bit bigger, right? So that people can see it from the back of a room. So 16 point seems to work well here. And I can use this as an example within the presentation. And so here we're just copying and pasting. This is no longer linked to the spreadsheet. It's not very elegant. This is something that you might want to create in a native table or a table that you insert in PowerPoint, because then you have more control. But if you need to quickly copy something from Excel, you can use the same procedure where you can copy, select the range of cells that you want in Excel, and then paste. Now this is a fairly advanced topic. Some of you may not have taken an Excel class, so this is going to be a little bit new to you. So in the presentation, I want to have an example of a mortgage payment, talking about the loan amount, the interest, the loan period. And sadly, this is a very short period. It's only 5 years, but you get an idea. Now, I want to pay that house off quickly. Now, the other way to do it is a little bit more complex in what I described previously. The only difference is I'm inserting a link to the Excel spreadsheet. And so you do that from, make sure you have slide 15 selected, select insert, and then under text, believe it or not, of all places, what we want to do is select object so that we can embed an object. You don't want to go to links, you want to go to embed. Embedding is basically linking one object to another in either PowerPoint or Word or Excel. So we're going to create from a file, and we need to browse for our file. And what we had, I have a lot of files on my desktop. Let's see if I can find the one I'm looking for. I'll go to desktop instead of documents, and it should be under Lab4, and it's the mortgage calculator, and I'll click OK. All right, so now if I select link, then that's going to forever link them. Now it's saying it inserts a picture of the file. It inserts a picture of the file contents into your presentation. The picture will be a shortcut to the file that changes, so that changes to the source file. It should say source file, but will be reflected in your presentation. If you don't link it, it's just going to insert the contents, and that's not any better than what we did in the last slide. So let's link it and then click OK. And now we get a picture of what that looks like. And it's a little bit more elegant because it has the data and everything's formatted. If we double click on it, watch the magic. It brings up Excel. And what it's done is it's linking that area that I had highlighted, that I selected conveniently. And so the reason it'll do that is they're forever linked, right? If I go to slide 14 and double click, nothing happens. But on 15, if I double click, it opens Excel. In fact, if I escape, right, let's go ahead and save the PowerPoint presentation. And then if I go to Excel, then if I change something, let's say I change the period of years to 15 for the loan, right? And then I'm going to resize this a little bit so I can see that lowers my monthly payments quite a bit, right? If I save and then I go back to PowerPoint, see what it did. First of all, it put the entire table in it. So if I go back and I just select this range, if I go back, let's see what it gives us. Well, that's the other drawback. See, it gave us the entire thing this time, right? And I really don't want all that, but it embedded it but let's look and see what it did. If we scroll up and we look at all these years, whoops, let's go back. If we scroll up, and we can get to it a lot faster if we zoom out a little bit. You can see this is when it gets crazy. I probably wouldn't embed anything like this, but it's a pretty good demonstration. I think we ran out of room on the pasteboard. But let's keep going and let's see. Ah, voila. Well, then it just did its thing, right? Yeah, we almost ran out of room there on the pasteboard. But you can see if we can drag it down, we can't even drag it. What it's done is it basically, take my word for it, updated the entire sheet, and it embeds it because it's such a big sheet. So that's one of the drawbacks. It's going to embed everything, and to be frank, it only showed what we selected the first time because of what we had. If we save it and go back and then save, that's not going to change anything. But if we scroll up, we will see that it changed the terms of the months, and there, well, just before it went, we could see it. We could see how it updates it. You can tell just by the number of months that it's updated and embedded the spreadsheet. That's one of the drawbacks for embedding, right? You might get everything and you don't want everything, okay? And so we can always update the link by right-clicking, and so that's how you embed it. For now, what I want you to do, I just wanted to demonstrate that. I want you to delete slide 15, and we're not going to use that. But you did see how it works. They talk about it in the textbook, but they don't talk about all the drawbacks. Let's insert one more new slide, and it's going to be a simple slide. And what we're going to do is we're going to create one. And actually, I want to call this Online Mortgage Calculators. And here's a quiz. What kind of layout do I have right now? Well, we can go to Home and we can look, and we can see that the current layout is title only. Okay, let's have a layout where we have two content. And if we bring up our Word document, I want to copy all of these links under Add Links to the Mortgage Calculator. And then I want to paste them here. So now all these links are here. I want to get rid of the parentheses. I don't know why I put those there. And let's make these bold. And we haven't talked about it, but how do we insert a link in PowerPoint? Well, we can insert a link. It's very simple. We can copy and this link, for example, let's just copy it. And then if we want to, we can go to, if we want to insert the link, we can select the Insert tab, and under the Links group, click Link, and then Insert a Link. And then we see the link, Recent Links, or insert the link manually, and let's drag that over. We have a couple of options. What it will give us the option to do is link to files that are currently in our folder, or place in the web or on our folder, but we want to go to the web, so we're going to enter the address here and click OK. Now that inserts the link. The other way to do it is if we click and drag and select this text, since it's a link, we can simply set it up and we can paste it here if we want. Or if there's a hyperlink in a presentation, if we click to the last character in the link and then press return, then it's going to enter a hyperlink for us automatically. Same thing down here. And some of you probably already know that. It's a little bit of a review. And so we have a link, but what I want is kind of a representational graphic. So you know what? I want to play with this and customize it. So let's go ahead and delete this this placeholder, this text box, and go ahead and leave these links in. And what I want to do is just insert a graphic so that we have something that's decorative. And we're going to just take like a screen capture of this Bank of America mortgage calculator. And the way to do that is from the Insert tab under Images, we can select Screenshot, and it shows us our available windows, or we can do a screen clipping. And so what the screen clipping does is it brings up this little cursor, and when we click and drag, it selects the area that we want to clip, and it will grab it, snag it for us. Now what I did is I right clicked by accident, and so it didn't like that. And so let's do it one more time so that way we have it. I want to really screen clip this, so let's go ahead and screen clip, and it'll bring it up, and I'll left click and drag, and then it's done. And so it immediately puts it in the PowerPoint. It brings up the format tools so that I can screen clip it. I want to put a frame around it again like I did for the other one. Maybe make it a little decorative. It's just a decorative capture, and this column is too wide, so let's go scale it down again, and now we have it. Now why would I put the links on the screen? Well, that's so that people can actually see them, the entire URL, if they wanted to. You know, another trick would be to copy this link and then let me undo that, and then select this text, and then right click and insert a link. But then it becomes a hidden link, right? And that's not always useful because in the presentation people can't see the link. So let's go ahead and save it, and we only have one more tiny thing to do. See if I can mute my phone so you don't hear it ringing. Let's go ahead and insert a new slide. And for this one, what we're going to do is just play around with some shapes. Let's have just a title slide, and we'll say, congrats, new home owner. Oops, I can't study engineering, not spelling. Okay. And then let's insert some graphics. Okay, so there we have the option of using the drawing tools here, or we can select insert, and we have even more options. We can insert shapes and icons, 3D models, smart art. Let's start with shapes. You know, let's see what kind of shapes are available to us. Let's see if we could do something cool. We want to congratulate people with a nice little ribbon, and we'll select it and click and drag, and we have this nice little ribbon, and I guess that is one word, right? And let's take the text congrats and cut it out. Control X, and then double click here, and now you see the cursor blinking in the center of this thing. So it will accept text, and if I type Control V, now that text is there, and I can format it just like any other text. You know, I could use the quick styles here if I wanted to, but notice that doesn't apply, does it? So that's if I have Word. Well, there it goes. It applied it there. I can increase the font size by going to home and then changing it to about 72 point, and there it is. And that's pretty cool, right? Put an exclamation point, and that would be a nice closing to my presentation. So again, just for review, to insert shapes or drawing or glyphs, select insert. You have the option of inserting icons, which are really nice depending on the presentation to kind of visually represent data. We'll talk briefly about some 3D models a little bit later towards the end of the course. Go ahead and save your work. I have 16 slides, but if you have a slide for each step and the slides that we did in the last presentations, you'll have at least 16. Save your work and name this using your first name, your last name, and Lab4. So if I were to save this again, I would select File, Save As, right? And I would name it with my first name, Curtis _ Pembroke _ Lab4. And then save. And this is the file that I would submit to Canvas. If you have any questions, post your questions to the questions forum. I know this has been a pretty long demo, but if you follow along and most of all the steps, you can submit this and your lab will be done.